it can be that frustrating. And so my story is, over the past few years, I didn't take this transition too well. You know, for a while I took it really well, and I was like, okay, blindness, I'll just adapt to it and learn to walk with a cane. Okay, I can do that, you know. And, I got introduced to Braille, and I was like, okay, I think I could learn this. I don't need it right now, but I could learn this. But a few years back, probably about 4 years back, I just kind of had a bad time with it, you know. Just was not interested in being a blind person at all. And but what do you do with that, right?
Yeah.
You know, like you say. So my option was like, not my option, but my reaction was I just folded my arms and I said, I quit. I'm just not gonna do it at all. That worked out well for me. And
That's a lot of fun.
Oh, wow.
That was a lot of fun, yeah. Because what I found out is the change that I didn't want to embrace, right? I was holding on to the suffering part of it, and holding on to the suffering just intensified the pain. Where instead of just releasing it and saying, it is what it is, you know, and you got to move on, and you know, maybe I don't have complete control over my life, but I can learn to like my life a little bit better. That became my secondary approach. I would try to, after a long while of unsuccessfully not dealing with it, I came to a point where I was better able to accept it and start looking at the things that I could add into my life that would actually help me overcome some of the obstacles. So I studied Braille in the past, and now I actually made Braille work for me, because I stopped playing my music for a while because I could no longer read print. So I was unable to play music that I like to play, because I had no feasible way, unless somebody was going to sit there and read the music to me. And sorry. We have technology that helps too, but that's my last point. Anyway, my phone is a little premature. So I started taking things and accepting them, and realizing that they can actually help me to not feel as much suffering as I was. So I was able to take Braille, and I knew Braille enough and I could read it enough that I could type out music that I wanted to learn. I could type out the chord progression that I wanted, and then I could type out all the lyrics, and then through reading the Braille I could memorize the lyrics, and then I could play songs. And that was one of the recent things that I started adding back to my life. And it's gave me like a new outlook. It doesn't change the hardships, but it makes it a little bit more doable. When you realize that if you can find a way around the loss, then it's like not a loss, right? Like you know, maybe I'd get upset because I can't read print anymore, but then if I'm able to read Braille, then you're like, that's helpful. Like now I can actually, I have a solution, so you don't feel as upset, you know, or sad or depressed or whatever. And so I decided to say yes to a bunch of things instead of sitting there powerless while blindness continually took away things out of my life. I would just say, okay. And then I treat life like a game now, you know? Like, and sometimes the game is fun to play, and sometimes it's not so fun to play. But like a game may be, okay, I have to go show up in Boston somewhere and travel there on my own, right? to go to a meeting, and literally this happened recently. I had to go to a meeting in Boston, and I don't know where the building is, I don't know where the street is or whatever. So instead of feeling scared and anxious and whatever, I just pictured it as a game and would say, okay, I can use some technology to help me, I can use some people to guide me there a little bit and learn the path on my own, and just kind of treat it like a game instead of like a hardship, you know. And I won at the game. I found my way back there on my own, and I felt, wow, I could probably figure out more things on my own and not be so depressed, you know, like to feel like I'm isolated or whatever. So